What up everyone, it's your man XManny87 here, bringing you another G.I. Joe Classified video, and what I have for you today is the Pulsecon exclusive G.I. Joe Classified series Serpentor with Air Chariot action figure review. Before we get into everything, if you could please leave a thumbs up like rating on the video, it'll help show your support for my channel and I greatly appreciate it. Now, with that said, it's time for me to bring you another 1-2 punch episode of the Uncanny X-Man-y story time, and then we'll take a look at the figure. Let's go! Stefan Manassian, aka Serpentor, first appeared in Marvel Comics G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, issue number 49 in 1986. Serpentor is an artificial being created by Dr. Mindbender to lead the terrorist organization Cobra. Serpentor's genetic material came from some of the most notorious leaders in history, from Alexander the Great all the way to Genghis Khan and more. Serpentor was created in the same manner, but was never intended to replace Cobra Commander. He was to be more of an iconic figure to inspire the troops. The plan was that Cobra Commander would remain in power, as no one outranks a commander in Cobra, being the highest rank. During an attack by G.I. Joe on the Cobra base in Springfield, Serpentor led an attack and risked his life to save a single Cobra soldier. He then gave orders and did actions that led to ensuring the safety of many other soldiers. Word of these actions spread quickly through the ranks and inspired great loyalty amongst Cobra troopers. Serpentor would have ongoing power struggles with some of the key Cobra leaders such as Zartan and the Baroness, and at first even Cobra Commander himself. His rivalry with Cobra Commander doesn't last long. They eventually work out their problems and work together until the imposter Fred 7 takes Cobra Commander's place without the knowledge of the other Cobra leaders. Fred 7 takes an immediate dislike to Serpentor and the two are at odds. This eventually leads to the Cobra Civil War. The US government decides to support Serpentor and sends G.I. Joe to back up his troops. They justified this action by stating that Cobra Commander was a dictator and Serpentor was more of a monarch and would be easier to deal with. Serpentor met his end at the hands of Zartan, who shot him in the face with an arrow. Dr. Mindbender placed Serpentor's body in cold storage for scientific research. Devil's Due Publishing would keep the Marvel continuity and later resurrect the character as his body was discovered from being left in suspended animation. He would then become the Cobra Emperor. IDW Comics would take over, where Serpentor is a member of the Cobra Council, a voice that elects the Cobra Commander mantle. For powers and abilities, Serpentor is an adaptive fighter, both armed and unarmed, as well as being a highly intellectual strategist with leadership skills, who also possesses super agility, animal control, gadgets, super stamina, and super strength. His main vehicle, the Air Chariot, is a golden flying throne with wings, shields, and gunners. In other media, Serpentor is the main antagonist in the second season of the 1980s G.I. Joe, A Real American Heroes animated series, first appearing in the Arise Serpentor Arise saga. In G.I. Joe the movie from the 1980s, a new backstory was introduced for him with Cobra-La, an ancient culture in the Himalayas ruled by Galabulus, with his royal guard Nemesis Enforcer and emissary Pythona at his side. Galabulus was the originator of the Cobra movement and made Dr. Mindbender formulate the creation of Serpentor. For merchandise, Serpentor was made in action figure form a few times with his Air Chariot, beginning with his original 1986 release. Serpentor's original death took place in G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, issue number 76, titled All's Fair, and has appeared in over 110 issues. So ever since this line was introduced, my most wanted was Serpentor, and he doesn't disappoint. Lots of things going on with him here, lots of sculpting. I feel like there's not one spot missing a sculpt. Like, it's everywhere, and I love it. I appreciate it. And just take a look at this head sculpt, man. He looks so mean. I love it. Love the red eyes. Love the expression. That very stern, mean look. Man, the snake helmet too. You can see the fangs right here painted in silver. And that snake helmet looking beautiful. You got some gold trim right there at the mouth. And it goes down right around his jaw. And you get the snake hood attached to the snake helmet here. So that looks amazing, man. This is so sick. Now, the one thing with this head is that it's not gonna move for articulation. The reason being is, well, let me pull his cape up. It's attached right here. You have to untab this so you can see now that's untabbed. If you want him looking down and, you know, you're not going to get much up movement with this because the hood is going to tab back into place, but you'll get some left and right movement. You know, again, it's a workaround. You're not really going to tell anyway since the cape covers it, so that's a good thing. And I love the snake eyes painted right here. Snake eyes, that was not on purpose, I promise. And I like the snakes here around the shoulders, nicely sculpted as you can see. And the eyes are painted too, the mouth is painted. You get some like holes right there in the mouth too. You can see, man, it looks so good. And the scales and everything, like it goes all around his torso, as you can see, painted nicely. And the chest plate on his armor is beautiful. That's one thing I will give this figure, is the gold paint on this is absolutely stunning. It is one of the best freaking highlights of this figure. You get a nice ratio of colors between the gold and the scale armor being in like a lighter kind of dull gold, you know, a beige-ish. You get some more gold plating right there on the back of the arm. And I really like how the elbow pad here is in green and it looks like it connects to his serpent gloves. The gloves are freaking dope too. You can see the snake sculpted on his hand. Wow, that's impressive. And you have the fingertips painted in gold as well. And I'm not sure why they gave him trigger hands, knowing that he doesn't even use guns or comes with any guns in this set. He should have had regular C-grip hands, especially when he's driving his chariot. It just makes no sense for him to come with trigger hands. Alternate hands would have been nice, at least a pair of fists. But man, look at all this snake armor. The other hand has his gauntlet blade. It's a nice silver paint on the blade part, but you know, right here is just not painted, and that's kind of a bummer. And you get more armored plating on the side right there, as you can see. More gold paint traveling down his obliques. The back is sculpted again all throughout. It's beautiful. And more snakes. So you get his snake belt right here painted nicely. You're going to see a lot of snakes on this guy. And fun fact, Ron Rudat, who was the action figure designer for the Joes back in the 80s, when he created Serpentor, he was inspired by Tulsa Doom from Conan the Barbarian film. And you get some nice gold plating on his crotch and on the side of his thighs. More scaly like armor. You got the leg padding right there in green, and some nice line work designs, knee pads, and the boots are so nice. You got the snakes wrapped around his boots at the top. More gold plating. I just love this gold paint. I'm in love with this gold paint. More of the scales in there. Again, nice ratio of colors here. Everything feels evenly balanced, and green on top of the shoe part. And lastly, here's a look at the cape, and I love it. I'm a fan of soft goods. If you guys follow me, you know that I'm a fan of soft goods. So seeing this with the snake print has a nice feel to it. It's the right choice. Thank God it's not plastic. I just wish it was a posable wired fabric. It looks like they could have definitely put a wire in this. It looks like that, but there isn't. There are ways you can manipulate the cape to make it look posable. You could twist it and curl it like so. I will let you know that sometimes the cape can get caught in the shoulders, but you know, no biggie when you're articulating it or anything like that. You could just pull and tug it. And by doing that, you'll free the arms and the cape. Now for accessories, he has an alternate snake helmet and snake hood. So what we're going to do is just pop this off. My man's forehead's completely gone. Looks weird like that. So let me put the snake helmet on him. And he should have had an alternate head with his hair. That would have been nice. But yeah, this is going to be everyone's preferred option when it comes to articulation, because you get that free range of motion with that double jointed ball peg at the neck. So as you can see now, he's able to look up and down and, you know, side to side, round and round, left, right. So he's much better in mobility. And again, those serpent eyes painted nicely. It just looks so good. Yeah. Looks really good. Next up, we have his serpent spear, which he used this snake specifically since he has the ability for animal control, and turned it into a spear and stabbed Duke with it when he was trying to save Falcon. And that looks really freaking cool. It's not bendy wired or anything because it's a spear, but it is pliable. So say if you want him to chuck it at somebody, you know, you can do that. He looks so damn cool. Then he has an interchangeable blade gauntlet. You'll get a longer one, and it's pretty easy to untab. And you just match the shape with that and just, you know, plug it in like so. And here's a look at the size difference between these extended blades. Then you get his Cobra, and this is really, really nice. A nice G1 homage to the action figure and to the cartoon as well. This is so nice. And you get some paint, like the mouth is painted in red. I want to say the eyes are painted in black. You get a nice darkish brown color to this. And you get some nice paint on the inside. And it's all throughout. So I like how they painted the bottom of it all around to the tip. It's not bendy or anything like that, but it is pliable. Just looks so good. I love this. Then he comes with this serpent sword. You can see the cobra right there on the handle, and you get like a, I guess, a red jewel, and it's painted in red right there. It's not on the back, only in the front. You get the blade right here, which is painted in a nice metallic silver. Lastly, you get a serpent staff with this cobra hood on it. It's nicely sculpted. Look at that. Wow. It's not painted. I want to say it's a shinier gold plastic than what is on the staff. It's nicely sculpted though. And here's a look at the bottom of the staff. He's got 2 red jewels right there painted in red. And here are the staff and his sword in his hands. And this is what I was talking about, manipulating the cape to look posable. Like I have the staff right under his cape, and then you could just, you know, if you want to twirl it around or do whatever you want with it to make it look like it's flowing and in action for some of your dynamic poses you want to set for him. Yeah, you can. And yo, this looks so badass, man. I love this. And now the main attraction of this set is his air chariot. And come on, the best thing about G.I. Joes for me was always the vehicles and the combination of the figures and vehicles. That to me is the ultimate fun factor. So taking a look at this air chariot, it looks freaking awesome, man. They nailed it here. The one bummer part, which I want to get my bummer part out of the way first, and that's his air chariot is supposed to also serve as a throne as well. So as you can see right here, it's supposed to have a seat that extends out a little bit. I feel like they should have extended this out a little bit more and have a kind of, you know, extended piece here for a seat so he could sit down. I mean, after all, he has a soft goods cape. They should have taken advantage of that so he is able to sit, and it doesn't look like he sits appropriately at all. But for me, he just didn't look right at all, as you can see. So I feel like if this was further out, he could have planted his butt right on it, and that's what you want in a throne. So ideally, this should have been extended further out, and this right here on the bottom part of the chariot should have been past his feet so he could rest his feet and plant them on it. But may not be a big deal for some. And looking at this thing, it's just absolutely stunning, man. So looking at the side, let me get my measuring tape here. From the spoiler to the gunner, it is about, I want to say, 9.5 inches across. And from the front, about 9 inches across as well. And about 6.25 inches tall. So it's a really nice size. So here's a full look on the side and on the back. And wow, man, this is just sculpted nicely all around, man. It's just beautiful. I'm trying not to gush so bad, but I can't help it, man. This is the figure I've been wanting for this line forever. Look at the snake head right there. It looks beautiful. The gold painted right there on the mouth. You can open it as well. So he has like a little missile in there, and you can flick that down if you want. Kind of serves as his tongue as well, but if you want to stick it out a little bit more, like in the middle, let me get my trusty tool here. You can have it pointed out like so. That looks so good, man. Really nice. You can't put a blast effect on it. That would have been really cool. But you get some silver paint right there in these ridges right here. You know, the gold paint is just stunning. I love the gold paint that they used. Get some gold paint right there as well. All the way down to the center, and the bottom right here is all painted gold, and you get nice scales sculpted around the hood of the Cobra. So the snake mouth and the hood and like this piece right here, that's the only thing painted in gold on the Chariot. The rest is on this gold plastic, but as you can see, it has this kind of nice shimmer to it, so it's not that bad. You can see some of the designs it has there. The Cobra logo with the crown, that's dope. And you get the caution gun reactor label on there. You get like vents underneath there too. The gunners are really cool. You can move them or swivel them. It's not on a ball joint, but you can get them to move upwards a bit and downwards a bit. If you want, you could just pop it out and let one of your Vipers or Troopers kind of gun it if you want, or just give it to Serpentor. I don't know why they didn't try this before, but he could definitely use this as a gunner, so now this trigger hand works for something, so that's pretty dope. Oh man, that looks so cool. And when you remove one of the gunners, you can see some number sequences there. And he's got some holes in the gunner, so you could plug in some blast effects. In my opinion, it should have came with it, knowing that the option is already there. And you can see the hover engine right here, which is pretty cool. If you take this, it actually spins. So, oh man, that's so freaking cool. So hopefully my mic caught the audio on that and you saw it on the camera spinning. That's just so dope. You guys, nice sculpted line work. And the spoilers right here are unassembled out of the box, so you gotta assemble them. And here's a look underneath the back part of it with the thrusters. And you get some nice mounted padding here. Nicely sculpted. Got the pegs right there where you'll plug his feet in. Look at some of the inner workings there, the gauges. Looks cool. It's not stickers, it's actually painted, I believe. Here are the handles and, you know, a gauge at the top, or odometers, and yeah, it's really, really cool, man. I can't complain. It's so freaking dope. They nailed it. Again, they absolutely nailed it. Here is the bottom of it. You can see the bottom of the hover engine. Get some labels. Oh, this is just so nice. And you get the legs here, the kickstand, so you can just, you know, put them back into place if you're not going to use it. Would have been nice if it came with some sort of flight effect stand. That would have been amazing. But if you want to plant it back on a flat surface and want it hovering a bit, just use these kickstands. Just take your fingernails and pull that back. And boom, baby, here is Serpentor mounted on his air chariot. Oh man, this is just epic. I love vehicles, and I knew if Serpentor was ever going to come in this line, they couldn't do him without his air chariot. It had to be done together. Wow, this is worth it, man. This is absolutely worth it. He comes with a lot. This is a lot, and for the price point, again, I can't complain. I'm just happy it wasn't a HasLab, so... Now for articulation, I'm very impressed with how well this guy moves, especially because he's a big figure. And he's got a lot of sculpting going on. So the head, well, we went over this already with the double jointed ball peg, you know, moves in all sorts of directions. The arms, again, pull the jacket, or cape, I'm sorry, away from the arms. And they move about that far up, so you're gonna get a straight T-pose with him, so not bad at all. And they move down. You can move them and swing them around. He's got butterfly joints that they move that far forward and that far back. Bicep swivel, double jointed pinless elbows, a little past 90 degrees. Again, he's very big and bulky and he's got a lot of armor, so it's excusable. And you got the wrist swivel and the traditional regular wrist hinge on both hands. Double diaphragm joint, so he crunches over that far and bends that far back. He's got an upper torso swivel and it pivots really nice and it rocks around. Same with the waist. It's a ball joint, so it can rock around, you know, swivel, pivot. It's a little bit gappy, but I'm okay with that as it gives him a lot of range and motion and articulation. So he gets great movement in the torso area. His legs spread that far apart so he can make a full split. That's amazing. And his legs kick up that high, and they can kick that far back. So he's got the drop down hip mechanic, as you can see. So they can shift that far down and back up into place. You got the thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and you get no heel to the Serpentor butt, but that's okay. Again, he's got a lot of armor going on here, and as you can see with this calf, the boot swivel, you know, the snakes around it is definitely going to stop at that point. But still, man, great range, great muscular proportions. You know, I feel like the proportions are spot on with this. You get a boot swivel, and then his ankles move up that far, down that low, and you can rock them all around. Let's kick off comparisons with some vehicles. Here is the Air Chariot next to the Ram Cycle, and here is the Air Chariot next to the Cobra Coil. Here is Serpentor next to some members of the Joe team. You can clearly see that Serpentor is the tallest G.I. Joe figure made, measuring at a little over 7 inches. Important comparison here with Serpentor next to Sergeant Slaughter, as Sergeant Slaughter's first G.I. Joe cartoon appearance was in the Arise Serpentor Arise saga. Now, going off comic height, this doesn't work since Slaughter is taller at 6'6" and Serpentor is listed as 6'4". However, for cartoon scale accuracy, it works perfectly as Serpentor was taller than Slaughter, so this works just fine for me. Here is Serpentor next to some Cobra members, Cobra Commander, Destro, Baroness, and the man who killed him, Zartan. Lastly, of course, you can't have Serpentor without his creator, Dr. Mindbender. And now to wrap things up, my final rating is an 11 out of 10. Beyond total freaking awesomeness. One of those rare figures that breaks the scale for me. They did my boy justice here. The superior sculpting from top to bottom on this figure and on the Chariot in its entirety is weaved expertly through, making this a toyetic masterpiece. The gold paint on this guy really shines through and looks like a trophy when I'm holding it on his Air Chariot. The mobility on this guy makes it fun for him to pose around, and thankfully they made his cape fabric so his posing wouldn't be limited. Great range of motion to strike the poses you need. A respectable amount of accessories included. You get about 8 or 9 total, I want to say. Maybe it could have came with a little more, like alt hands, but Joe's are more weaponry focused than hands. But take into account that the vehicle takes a huge chunk, which you can look at as one very big accessory. Well, it's definitely more than that. It's a vehicle in its own right, but you get what I mean. His most important inclusion. His Chariot even has accessories, as you can remove the gunners to have him or some Cobra troopers wield it. Great features with the spinning hover engine, the hidden missile at the mouth, the paintwork on the throne part, labels, logos, and odometers. It's beautifully toyetic and engineered. This is definitely the best offering in the classified line, the best figure in the line in my opinion, an instant holy grail. It'll be the centerpiece in my G.I. Joe display until that his tank comes out. It cemented a guaranteed spot in my top 10 figures of 2022 and may very well be my number 1, because this I command. Now I kick it back to you. What do you think of this Serpentor figure? Were you able to grab one on Pulse? Also, what figure / vehicle combo would you like to see next in the line? Comment below, let me know, we'll chat about it. That was my review. Please follow me on Instagram at xmanny87. Hit the notification bell so you always know when my latest videos are up. Share and subscribe if you're new. Enjoy the pics at the end of the video. See you on the next review. Peace, peace.